Hello to my middle school students, my online kiddos. Today I'm going to do a little brief lecture on theater terminology. That's what we went over today in class, and it's just for those of you who have been in theater before, it's just going to be kind of a review, but for those of you who don't know anything about theater, these are some of the very common terms that you are going to hear throughout any type of theater process. You will hear these words. So I'm going based off my PowerPoint. I wish I could get both in the view, but I don't know how to do so yeah, so you'll just have to hear me talk. So the first word is audition. So an audition is to try out for a play. So anytime you try out for sports, you try to make a team. It's almost like a job interview, if you want to think of it that way. I know you guys are young, but you guys know what job interviews are. It's a way to try out for a role, and usually you have to perform a monologue, or two. There are some directors that will want you to perform two that are completely different so that they can see your range. They can see how funny you are. They can see how good you are at serious, more like somber pieces. It all depends on the director. But for the most part, you will perform one monologue for an audition. Now, a standard audition, sorry, there's a bell. A standard audition is just you on stage, and in the audience is going to be your director and your two stage managers, usually your stage manager and your assistant stage manager. Those are who are in the room for a standard audition. Now, if there's another one called cattle call, and cattle call is where everybody is in the room watching. And for me, it's a little less scary to have everyone in the same room, because then it's like everybody's in the same boat, everyone's nervous. I'm very much like a competitive person, so my mindset is, if I can do better than her, and I can do better than her, then maybe I can get this role. So it just kind of helps me push myself in cattle calls a little bit more, because I get to see everybody else's talent. So a monologue is a speech given by one character. Basically what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys, is very similar to a monologue. It's just one person talking. Usually it's for a minute or two just by themselves. They can be on stage alone talking to themselves, or they can be talking to another person or a group of people. It really does not matter. But yeah, that's a monologue. There's a really good video that is linked in there of this 12-year-old girl, or I think she was 12 in this video. She's a professional on Broadway and in Broadway, and she does performances for different places, and she performs monologues, and she's really good. She does a good performance of a monologue, and I chose her because she is close to your ages, so you can kind of see what professional people look like at your age. So cut, or cutting a scene or a script or whatever, that means editing it. Usually it's to make it shorter. If you look in the picture, it is an example from Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. It is literally just if there's a word or a phrase that you don't want to say, just draw a line through it, boom, you cut the monologue, you cut the scene. So that's all that cutting a script means, or a monologue means. So cold readings. So when you go in for an audition, if the director wants you back or sees you as a potential for a role, they give you a second audition that's called a callback. And during callbacks, you perform what's called cold readings. So that's when an actor at the audition is given a script, and you have maybe 10 minutes to look at it before you perform your scene or your monologue. So for example, I've been to several callbacks, and one of them, I was handed a monologue and was told to perform it right then and there. I didn't have time to go rehearse or do anything. I just had to perform it. Now, there's also another time where it was a group scene, and the director said, hey, you have 5 minutes, go out in the hallway, perform, and then you're gonna get called back in here. And we had to perform with like 5 minutes of rehearsal. So it's basically a way for the directors to see what choices you make, if like what you can do on the fly, and if you're good under pressure. So a script, this one's a simple one, but you still may not know, it's okay, is what a play is printed on. Basically, a script is the play. That's exactly what the play is. And so if you see in the pictures, the one on the left that's like just paper, that's typically what a script that you will have will look like, because you need to be able to have wear and tear on it. You need to be able to write in it, to make notes in it, write your blocking, etc. I'm so sorry, I keep yawning. And the one on the right is like a normal script. That's what they're typically printed in. And then when they're scanned, they look like that paper one on the left. But you will always, always, always need it during rehearsals. That is your way of knowing your lines, being able to write down your blocking, which is like where you go on stage. You will need it for like every single rehearsal. So always bring your script to rehearsal. Now, what is rehearsal? Rehearsal is like practicing for the play. Because of COVID, and you know, if we do like one act play or anything like that, we will have rehearsal. And because of COVID, we have to have less than 8 hours of rehearsal a week. So I can only keep you guys for 8 hours a week, which is unfortunate, but we gotta do what we gotta do to keep everybody safe. So yeah, it's basically just us practicing. Now, I will say, if you ever decide like theater is what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I want to go to college and perform and do theater in college, it will be more difficult. My schedule, and I went to I had a smaller department and a smaller school, but where I went to school, we had rehearsals 6 days a week. 5 of the days, like Monday through Friday, it was from 7:30, but you had to be there at 7:15 at the latest, to 11 o'clock at night. And then on weekends, it was from like 1 to 5 p.m. So rehearsing, it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of focus. Blocking. So blocking is your planned movement on stage. Typically, the directors give it to you and kind of tell you where to go. But sometimes the director is going to be like, I don't know what I want for this scene. You guys go do stuff and I'll tell you if I don't like it. So you sometimes will have to make choices on your own as to where you go and when. But for the most part, directors are going, I'm so sorry, are going to give you your blocking. Now, the part of the stage, oh, I can mark it. So maybe, because, okay, maybe. We gonna figure this out. Can we see me? Maybe. Okay, whatever, it's fine. Okay, anyway, so the part of the stage that's closest to the audience is what's called your downstage area. So that's from the actor's perspective. So when you're downstage, you are as close to the audience as you can get while still being on the stage. Now, upstage is the opposite. You are as far away from the audience as you can be while you're on the stage. Now, stage left is from, like, basically your left side of the stage. And remember, it's from the actor's perspective, because if you're an audience member, it looks like that person's on the right-hand side of the stage. But as an actor, that is your stage left because it is on your left side. Stage right, the right-hand side of the stage. So if I said upstage left, downstage right, or left center, sorry, I was laughing at my joke or my little meme. Don't worry, it's easy. There's a little diagram that shows you where those are. So if I said upstage left, you have to go really far away from the audience on the stage and then go left on the stage. If I said downstage right, get really close to the audience but be on the right hand side of the stage. If I said left center or center left, you're center stage, but you're on the left-hand side of the stage. And there's a diagram in here that shows you like what I'm talking about a little bit better. To project is kind of what I'm doing right now. It is to increase your voice using your diaphragm so the audience can hear you. Your diaphragm is this area right here. So like if I were to breathe in through my diaphragm, my chest, like my stomach will expand. If I'm not breathing through my diaphragm, my chest will expand. So that's how you know if you're taking a deep breath and breathing through your diaphragm is if your stomach is expanding when you breathe in. Projection is not yelling. Yelling comes from your throat. That is why like your throat hurts after you've yelled a lot, because yelling comes from here, not from your diaphragm, and that's the main difference. And if you watch this video, it has something really interesting. It brings up the fact that when I project, like if you project like I'm doing right now, my voice is at a lower pitch because I'm using my chest resonator. That's what it's called, my chest resonator, my chest voice, in order to speak. But if I talk in my normal tone, my voice gets higher pitched because, like what I'm doing right now, because I'm talking through my throat, which is a higher up resonator. That's how most people talk every single day of their life. But hear this difference versus when I start to project and I get a little bit like deeper in tone. That's just what happens when you're speaking correctly on stage. So off book. Off book means that you're no longer using your script to read your lines or you're blocking. When I say be off book, that means have your lines and your blocking memorized. Typically off book day one means that means you can still call for line, which means if you forget a line, the stage manager will tell you your line. But if it's off book part two, that means if you forget a line, you better figure it out, improv it, do something to keep the show going, because we're running on show conditions, and you know, the stage managers won't be there to feed you your line and give you your line during show conditions. So that's what that means. If you guys have any questions at all, let me know. We are having a Zoom meeting on Wednesday from 3:30 to 4:30, so I hope I see you guys there. That is just in case you guys have any questions or anything like that for me. If you just want to kind of talk and get to know me, that's great too. But I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.